Welcome back to Just Give Me a Minute. I'm here with Anthony Grisby and Terrence Mack. Our next topic is everybody cut out to go to college? I'd like to start this topic with Terrence.
Truth be told, everybody is not cut out to go to college. But you never know if you're cut out to go to college unless you go. I was having a conversation with one of my friends. It's a girl, and she was telling me that she didn't think she was cut out for college. She never even spent time in a college classroom, but she just got this thought in her head that she wasn't good enough to go to college, so she was going to try trade school. And my personal feelings about trade school is, and I put Baker College in the trade school category, is they train you just well enough to get a job. You can go anywhere from college, but you can go to a job from trade school. So if you want to just go to a job, then your best bet is trade school. If you want to go anywhere, then you want to take a college path. And that's my thoughts.
Time out. I think everybody has the ability to succeed at college. The question is getting placed in the right college and in the right major.
And in the right,
and in the right environment. But a lot of people, like, think about it. Nobody ever asked the question, are you cut out to go to high school?
Right.
Nobody asked you that question. Why? Because it's expected of you. But then when it comes to college, since it's something that we have to pay for or have to find creative ways to finance, then we start putting the doubt in the different kids' heads and saying,
I'm gonna put my point in. You know, I'm not gonna lie. When I was in high school, I didn't have no thought about going to college. I thought college was like, some maybe the next step I will take, but I never put no thought into it. I can't say I was kind of forced, but my mom kind of gave me a general idea. She actually just put it on the table: you either going to the army or you going to college. So I wasn't about to go, shoot nobody going to Sam. So I actually went to college, and my first thought was like, man, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. I don't have the patience, don't have the time. I don't think I can sit here and listen to this professor and do this another 4 years. But when I sat down and I realized that I could do this, I felt like anybody else can do it too.
It's a totally different world from high school. But the thing is, like one of my instructors was telling me, she had a student in her class that was 4.0 all through his whole life. Got to Western Michigan, flunked out. Got to he started off at University of Michigan, flunked out. Went to Western Michigan, flunked out. Went to a community college, actually flunked out there too. College wasn't for him. There are cases where college isn't for you.
But time out. Maybe a lecture type environment is not for you. But it's different things that you can take and other things that maybe you need to go to class online. But the thing is, we just look at college as sit down, listen to an instructor, sit in an auditorium with a room full of people and take notes, then take a test, turn in a midterm paper, take a final, and then that's the end of your class.
I got a thing about college too, though. I think the thing about college is you paying for a job. You paying $30,000 to almost $40,000 a year. Oh, for 4 years.
No, a year.
No.
It's
per what college you go to.
Yeah, but it's about
$80,000.
Yeah,
$20,000.
Yeah, about 20 to 40, $40,000 a year to get this job. So say you graduate and you get probably $40,000, $50,000. You basically paid for that job. Over the years, it's gonna span out. You're gonna make more money. But after, when you starting off, you actually paid for that job. You got to pay all the student loans back. You got to get situated with your house and your car. You actually paid for that job.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like to call it the alphabet soup. The more letters you have behind your name, the more money you make. So if you got doctor, PhD, and this, and this, you make more money by having that. But it opens up so many more doors by having that piece of paper. Just like you have a high school diploma opens up more doors. You might not look at it, but the government paid for you to go. If you go to public school, you pay for that. And if you went to a private school, then, your parents paid for that definitely. And you saw the money, and, that's why people treat private school with such more respect than they do public school. But the bottom line is, if you're good enough or smart enough to go through high school, if you have enough IQ to go through high school, and it's a college and a major that's fit for you, the thing is finding and linking up people with what they're used to doing. The average person only looks at 2 or 3 schools going to college. And then if they don't get accepted to those schools, well, they'll probably get accepted, but they won't get a scholarship because the schools that they look at are the schools that they hear the most about. If you live in Michigan, you either want to go to Michigan or Michigan State, most likely. If you live in Pontiac, you probably go to OU because it's the closest college. Why doesn't Pontiac have a university? I don't know. We don't have a hotel either, but we'll talk about that on another show. The bottom line is, with that is, that people should be looking at 10 or 12 colleges. And it's all in preparation. You got to have the schools like Princeton and Harvard, you know, that you apply to. Hey, maybe I'll get in. But you also got to have your regular schools. The Princeton and Harvard, they call those reach schools. And then you got your regular schools that you need to apply to that you can get in. You need to be filling out 15 or 16 applications.
But I gotta say one thing in Pontiac, I think the counselors really don't preach that. When I went to Northern, I was fortunate enough to have a good counselor. You know, she was close to my mom, so my mom was really stayed on her case more than she stayed on my case. And I seen that other students that, you know, on these schools, like you said, they Michigan State. They didn't know. I didn't know what Fair State was. I didn't know what Western Michigan was. I didn't even know where Northern Michigan was. But it's a lot of